Hello, hello! What's up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and as you all hopefully know by now, I have been watching for the very first time and reviewing the Star Trek movies, the original Star Trek movies, and I admit I'm not the biggest Star Trek fan. The original stuff, it's my first time watching them. There's been a lot more misses than hits, probably, to me. But this movie is Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, a 1991 film that was directed by Nicholas Meyer. And the plot is we see the original cast, the original group, Captain Kirk and just everybody. They're 3 months away from retiring. And some of them can't wait until Spock, of course, without telling anyone or discussing it with anyone, decides to suggest them for a mission. And on this voyage, the Klingon Chancellor gets assassinated, and it looks as though the Enterprise were the people responsible for it, although we know that they weren't. So Kirk and McCoy, they get taken in to trial and imprisonment and all of this. So the rest of the group have to figure out who really did this and why. Now, what I thought of The Undiscovered Country is this is now my second favorite Star Trek movie, of the original series, of course. And this is why. First things first, let's talk about William Shatner as Captain Kirk. I just like the idea that this group, they know. They know that they're old, and that they're at the point where this isn't a job for them anymore. They have to retire. I mean, in fact, most of the other cast, they look old. It's funny watching these movies and seeing just how much older everyone gets and how much more gray hair everyone gets. Like Scotty or Chekhov looks older than Kirk by this point. Bones, Uhura, who in the last movie had gray hair, but this movie, the gray hair has magically disappeared. I don't know how to explain that. But more else, how do you explain why there's no mention of Scotty and Uhura dating anymore? Maybe original fans saw that in the last movie and absolutely hated it, so they just didn't talk about it here. But continuity-wise, it was a little weird. But I found it interesting that they were just about to retire. Spock does this thing and puts them on this mission, and Kirk is not happy. In fact, he feels somewhat betrayed by Spock, that Spock just doesn't even think to talk to him about stuff like this. They do have a new member, though, because Sulu, George Takei, yes, is a captain of his own ship. That was awesome to see, it was, because I did have this thought watching the last movie, or maybe even the one before that, where you see this crew, the original characters, obviously, from the TV show, and it's great to have them all together consistently, of course, but you wonder, practically, don't one of these characters want to move on, want to rise in rankings, want to just do something else, and not just be at the same positions their whole career? Some of them, okay, they're just comfortable and they like Kirk as a captain and they like their spot. You get that. But at least one person, I always wondered how come they never wanted to be bigger than that. And Sulu did. Sure, that means that you get maybe less of him in the movie, but I still just liked his position better in this movie. Now, let's talk about the brand new helmsman of the Enterprise taking Sulu's spot. Valeris, I think her name is. She's played by Kim Cattrall, who, when I saw her, it wasn't like I recognized her, but when I looked her up and saw that it was Kim Cattrall playing her, I'm sure most people know her from a bunch of things, but Sex and the City, unfortunately, would be one of them. And I don't know, I thought it was interesting to see a young Kim Cattrall in this role, and the fact that she was the first Vulcan of her kind to graduate the Starfleet with full honors ahead of her class and all of this stuff, so they really built her up well. Now, let's talk about the Klingons, because I have been pretty down on the Klingons. I don't think that these movies, at least, have done a great job portraying the Klingons or making them look badass or making them look like all that interesting of a race of aliens, especially with the build-up of years and years of me just hearing about the Klingons and how cool they are. I haven't been impressed yet. But we meet this character, Chang, played by Christopher Plummer, and some people in the comments even, in lead up to this movie have said, oh, wait till you see this character. So I was sort of looking forward to seeing what they were going to do here. I honestly thought that Christopher Plummer would be playing a villain, of course. But when you see him, he's not a villain. In fact, somewhat spoilers, but he gets killed off. Fairly early off in the movie, and I was pretty surprised by that. Now, granted, him as an actor, he did bring a presence and a certain weight to this role. I did like how Kirk had his suspicions about them because of his past and history and whatnot. Klingons killed his son, which is something that's kind of just been brushed to the side, under the rug. Like, he had a son who was killed, and it's like, no one really gives a shit. But when this Klingon gets murdered, like brutally murdered, it's a big mystery because it seems as though the Enterprise did it, all of the database, and just logically it seems like it could be nobody else, but we were with them. We know that they didn't do it. So this is where I really got interested in the movie and the plot, because we had a mystery killer, a big mystery on who is behind this, how did this happen, what's the end game, why are they framing Kirk? Although the motives are there, but I was really interested in what was going on here. When we found out who the killer was, I'm not saying I was shocked. I kind of did figure it out early on, but I still liked to see it play out. I still was interested by everything that was going on. The historical context of this movie in the Star Trek world is that it's the last movie with the original cast all together. So that's big. But not only that, it's also the last movie that the creator of the show, Gene Roddenberry, he died like right after seeing this movie. So this is really it. If you're a big fan of the original series, this is probably huge as far as a send-off, as far as seeing the characters, their last hurrah. And I did enjoy this movie. It was never slow. I thought the pacing was fine. I thought the plot and the story was interesting. This is one of the better Star Trek movies, without a doubt. I say pretty damn good to go out on. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Star Trek 6? Do you like it? Do you love it? Also, I don't have time to watch and review the new generation movies. I just don't. I need to watch the reboot stuff before the new movie comes out. So I will pose this question. If you guys want me to watch and review the new generation movies, I'll do that after I do the reboot stuff. But if you don't really care, if you're not interested, if the newer movies suck, then I can skip it. It's all good. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!